So yesterday we came in with this short-term oversold condition, and we looked for a bounce. And the idea was, flush, kind of a flush below this area, buy, and play for a bounce. You never know where these things are going to go, and you kind of have spots to look at. And in this case, I would consider a pretty minor bounce. I mean, considering what we've seen over the last few years, but nevertheless, we did get a bounce. SPY bottomed a little bit later than IWM. Third bar here, so at 10:30 came into 233. Um, I believe I was actually bidding at a nickel, which is the low of the day, so that was a nice little stop there. And then the bounce came up to this area yesterday where we sold off from the end of the day on the prior day, which was 234 and a half. We came down, we made a higher low above the 233.50. We came and tested 234 and a half at the end of the day, and that's where we're hanging out right here in the pre-market. So clearly, um, any type of move above this 234 and a half and a consolidation and then a break to the upside, we could be looking at, a more significant bounce. And I would say you get a close above 235, above 235.30, I would say even better. And this move probably over, and we can work our way back up to kind of where we sold off from. Now we have the House dealing with the healthcare stuff. I was following it on Twitter last night, and it seemed like they were going to try to negotiate something, and then they didn't make any announcement. So whenever politicians are trying to do last-minute negotiations, if they're making progress or something good's happening, they love talking to the press, and they had nothing to say last night. So unless they've said something since I started getting ready for the morning meeting, there's nothing so far. Um, and we'd probably be able to tell. Like I think the market would probably spike. I was hoping they would get something done, and we'd spike this morning to above 235, and that would kind of set us up for an easier trade. So looks like right now we're just going to play off yesterday's levels and understand where we may get some spikes to the upside or downside depending on news out of DC. IWM worked really well on the open. You can see this bar. So what happened on the open on this one was they crushed it into 133. We bought, and it spiked $1. And it spiked so much so quickly that 8% of it to see what would happen. Came down again, bought again here, but then it failed lower. Stops were hit here all the way at 1 o'clock. And then at the end of the day, right back up to 134. So this one, the way I'm looking at it is we had that multi-month consolidation here, and the longer it spends time below 134, the more bearish I would get on it, and we bounce back above, and that's where we are this morning. So as long as it stays above 134, and then we can get a close back inside of this 2-month consolidation range above 134.50, I think this is okay for a move back up. I think 137 and a half to 138 will continue to be difficult in terms of it getting through that area. So today, not nearly as good in terms of market setup and also stocks and play setup, but there's a few things in play. Certainly not as good as we had yesterday. PVH, I put this one first because I thought they beat and they raised. It was pretty significant, and we know that it sold off back here in December from 112 down to 102, and then from 102 came all the way down to 90, then spent a few months just moving sideways here. Spiked up a couple times to 95, tried to break down below 88. Really looks like the VWAP for these 2 months is around $92 a share. They raised guidance. Those are the ingredients for it to kind of erase this down move here. And so let's zoom in. So it's only done 37. Is that right? 37,000. They're on the conference call. So beat and raise, good guidance, goes up to 98. comes in to 96.80. Now we're just kind of right in the middle of that after hours range. What did I put on here for low? So 100 is the natural level if it takes out the pre-market high. If they do a little bit of profit taking right on the open, 95 is the natural, I guess that's where it broke out from. So I'd be looking 95 to 96 as a spot to get in for a run up to the pre-market high. If you don't get that pull in, then you're gonna, you can still trade it on the long side. You just got to be a little bit more careful. Normally has a $2 range, so I think $2.20. So I think, it could have a $5 range today. So profit taking on the open to 95, 96, and then a push back up to 100 would be about right post earnings in terms of a range for this one. Yep, and they're on the conference call right now. So, or no, they're not on right now. They're supposed to be starting in a few minutes. My platform has it color coded like it's on right now. So hopefully by the time the market opens, they'll be wrapping that up. But again, they already said they already gave the guidance for next year, so and that they got a buyback. So I'm not sure what else they would say that would be really bigger than those pieces of information they already released. What's our next one? Our next one is FEYE. Goldman went from a sell to a buy, which is kind of interesting. This was in play the other day a little bit. So I guess we looked at it when it came down to the 10-year, and then it clawed its way back up, came back down, did a retest last week. And there's been some money to be made here, buying it in the 10s, 10 to 10 range. Now back up at 12 and a half. This 12 and a half is kind of tough. So we'll see if it is. Let's see right on the open if maybe they dips down a little bit closer to $12 here, and then play a move back up to see if it can break through here and close a little bit higher. We're going to put a $15 target on it, which was there back in September. It's nothing great. As I said, these things are not as good as what we had yesterday, especially with FedEx. Five. So five is not an easy. It's actually the average volume is up to 1 million shares on it. It's better than it used to be. It's not the greatest trading stock. And you can kind of see on the daily. Actually, we're on the 5 minute. Here's a 30 minute. So basically, I mean, look, if you were paying attention to it and you noticed that 37 and a half, it kept them being bought. It did go down to 37 and a half. It looks like about 6 times in a few months. It was being sold here at 40 a bunch of times. So what was the news? What was the news? Numbers in line, slight reduced guidance. All right, so they guided down back in at the beginning of January, and the numbers came in pretty much with the small guide down that they had given. I don't know if there's anything in the numbers here that's enough to justify it moving through this area here. So it's probably a fade similar to FDX was yesterday. And this, where is this, 41 and a half to 42 area for move back into 40. And then you kind of see what happens at 40. Obviously, if it gets below 40 and holds below there, then it just moves right back inside of this range from the last few months. The next one is RARE. And their Caesar medication failed to meet its primary endpoint. That's bad. I don't know how much medication moved the stock price, so that's always, I'm guessing not that much, obviously, because or else the stock would be like down here. In fact, I'm just looking at Credit Suisse lowered their target from 90 to 86, so it's clearly like a smaller part of their of what they do. So that's always a good bounce candidate. Here's a 5 minute. Looks like people were, when that news came out, are going to be a little bit confused. It printed down here at 65 and went to 75. So let's use 70. Did I put that on the sheet? I put 74, 76. So basically this area right here from the after hours. And I think I probably got 76 from the longer term chart. So anywhere above 74 to 76, that seems like the area where it would potentially fail. I think right on the open, if they hit it and it got closer to $70, you want to play it for a bounce. Okay, it's already down $5 here at 72 and a half. So yeah, another buck or two on the open from here. Buy it into closer to 70. Try to play it for a move right back up to this where it bounced to in the after hours. Nike. Oh, they postponed the vote. I said that to Bella yesterday on the floor. I'm like, why would they vote on this? It's like so stupid. Like they don't have the votes. They was going to get like lose by 30 or 40 votes. So yeah. So the market sold off on that? Okay. So this is good. So you want to have, so obviously not, that's the worst negative headline would be like it has a vote and it's going to go down. The second worst is they're going to have to delay it. And then obviously the best is they're working out a deal. Looks like they're going to be able to take a vote and pass. The reason why you want that negative piece of news, not necessarily the news that it fails, is we have levels now, right? Yesterday we sold off in the morning, then we held higher, 233.50 to 233.60. We know 234 is potentially an inflection. So that negative piece of news comes out. If it doesn't get below this 233.90 here, you're like, okay, the market was waiting for a negative piece of news to buy. We're likely to test yesterday's high and then see what happens. So that's the great thing about when the market and you start to get some levels. You then like watch the news flow to see how the market reacts. Does negative news flow get it to like test the recent lows or even go through them? Does negative news flow come into like what had been higher lows? And so you kind of gauge how people are kind of resetting their orders in the market based on the news flow. So it's coming in right now as we speak to this 233.90. All right. So Nike. So Nike, we wanted to short this above 55 yesterday. More like this 55 and a half. It never got above there in the open. If you were watching it closely and you saw it not getting, actually, you know what? I think I did short it. I shorted it when I shorted below the half. So in the open, if you were watching it and it wasn't going up, shorting it at 55, risking 10, 15 cents made sense. It came off 75 cents from there. So that was a pretty good trade. Still 5 to 1 risk. Made the lower high, then started to hold below the half. I think I hit the 48-cent bid there. And then covered some into 30 cents, 20 cents, into 30 cents right here. And then probably, I think I got stopped out on this little spike right back above 50. But then later in the day, if you were patient, you eventually got to move down to 54. I think we talked about in the morning meeting yesterday, 54. Would it get below and hold below there and have another leg down, or would it hold the longer term level? It got below it, got back up tapping above. So it's pretty much the same levels as yesterday, the half here and the whole. And then the 54, will the longer term support continue to hold? If you see it below 53.80, you can look for another leg to the downside. And then FedEx, this one worked extremely well. I think I got pretty close to the high print in the pre-market here. I guess some people got a little bit higher. It spiked up to close to 199. By the time the market opened, I was already $3 in the money and kind of was in a position of strength to kind of ride it down to 94 or so. One thing I'll say about it is it bottomed here at 10 in the morning down at 93. I thought about flipping it here, risking 50 cents to $1, but I did not do that. It popped up a couple of dollars and then made a higher low at 93 and a half. Kept on failing here at 95, but eventually see the buyers stepping up steadily. So people took their profits from the long-term resistance or their shorts, and then it started to get bought a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. So there's people who still want into this stock. I think FedEx is impacted a lot less by potential Amazon in the future than UPS. It's less than 3% of their business. It's another big part of it, big deal. So it's made this huge run up. and held 185, and it held 190, 91 on the daily. I guess the way I look at this is the longer it can spend above 195 here, and then if it breaks to the upside, you can play it for the all-time move to the all-time high. Sure. I mean, I saw ACN was moving. I didn't really look at it, but I'm happy to look at it. It actually has a little bit more, it's a little bit more liquid than some of these other names we talked about. So just on a daily standpoint, it had a very long-term consolidation, which it tried to break out of a couple of times, failed at 25, failed at 25. Yesterday, coming into this number, it broke out above 25. Oh, now so the numbers weren't particularly good. Let's see here. Beats forecast. Hold on, let me just quickly check that. It beat by 3 cents, report in line, guides in line, raises low end of fiscal 17. Okay, just may have not been enough, just because it's above this 125 may have been not enough to sustain that move because it is at such high prices. The numbers look okay. So if we look at the recent move, it went from 116 to 126. Now numbers are so-so, so they're selling it back into recent support. I guess I would be looking at this recent support here around 122.80. Let's do a 30 minutes, see if that shows it better. So looks like they're on the conference call, only 55,000. It normally trades 2.2 million, so I like that part of it. Should trade 4 to 6 million shares today. Wait and see how it opens. Obviously, people who have been buying it the last couple of weeks have been buying it above 123.5, 123.75. So this area right here potentially would be where some people want to get the heck out into 124. If it starts to hold above 124, then it's shaking off the news. So this is the area right here, 123.70 to 124. Look for failure and 2 points of downside to the recent support. Hopefully that helps. Something about Qualcomm. Yeah, we haven't talked about Qualcomm in a couple of weeks. I'll look at that too. They have different legal. Yeah, so the deal with Qualcomm, first of all, can be a very difficult stock to trade intraday. Sometimes it's better to have it as a swing stock. I remember on the way down last year, I tried to buy it. It went down another $5, $6 before bouncing $20. So I think we're buying it in here, like 48, 50, and it kept on going to 43. Nailed the top pretty much. I think we talked about shorting it above 68 a couple of times here into 70. And then recently, it came back down into this 52 to 50, 51. They've got now I think is what the Apple lawsuits, but they're still doing business with each other. And then I guess, was it South Korea? Their way to make money, and the way this has been for the last 20 years, is they own a ton of technology. In addition to the chips that they now do in the mobile, which is a huge business, their technology model, their business model has always been about licensing. Apparently, they've cornered the market in some areas, and now governments are coming after them with antitrust concerns. And Apple, I think, piggybacked off of that stuff, and that's kind of the deal. So there's your kind of 30-second overview of what the fundamentals are. Now, let's see here. So I guess you're saying, okay, recently it took out the low here and then was bought the rest of the day. That's pretty bullish. I wasn't watching it at all. So sold off hard from 58 back down to 56. I bought it. It's accumulated above 56.5. I guess my thought on this is it's being bid higher. Is there news on it this morning? Partnering with AT&T for water management project. I doubt that's a big overall deal for them. So I guess it was bought yesterday. I would watch 56.90 to 57 to see if it's bought right here again today. And perhaps that's a spot to get in for a move back to where it broke down from, 57.60. But I don't really see much else beyond that. The sell-off yesterday, it did come into long-term support here yesterday. It almost got to long 56, I guess, was the level here. It got to 56.15 or so. So came into this area, was accumulated a month ago. As always, be patient and good luck. Oh, one other thing. Some people yesterday liked that I did the morning at meeting at 8:30, and then the recording was up by 9 for people who like to watch it later. I'll probably send out an email, just a survey to get a sense of when people like it. I don't think we really could move the time to any earlier than 8:30, just based on market trading. Institutions come and start trading at 8. We want to see what's going on. But we'll give you guys some choices and then kind of go from there. I'm perfectly happy to do it earlier and then have the archive ready for people like at 9 o'clock to watch. Be patient and good luck.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.